So here are two reasons why I believe Donald Trump could likely win this election despite what seems to be very terrible odds. These two reasons come from two questions that we're going to ask from two books from two philosophers that are 2,000 years apart or so. The first is from Plato. And Plato, in his Republic, describes a situation where there are five distinct government types. And each of those types are a digression from the best possible type, which is the most, the one that we want. And that's his ideal state, run by a philosopher king. It goes from that to one that really appreciates honor and military victory, then one that really likes money, then one that likes equality among all people, and then one that's a complete tyranny. And he says that you can only go down. You can only go from a better state to a worse state. If you want to get back to the better state, you kind of have to wipe everything out and start fresh. So because you can only stay where you are or go down, we can actually use this scheme to determine where we are as a country and then what president is going to be chosen by that sort of country. So, for instance, a warlike president would be really appreciated by a warlike state. A president that loves money by a money-loving state. And along the lines, that's how you do it. And so I think that if you had to put Donald Trump in one of these places, he would be squarely in the third one down, which is what Plato calls an oligarchy, but what really just is a sort of person that really likes money, a sort of state that values money. And we could definitely say that our country is like that, right? We love, basically we have lobbyists that essentially run the country, and Jeff Zuckerberg and what's his name? Mark Zuckerberg, whatever his name is. I meant Jeff Bezos, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so you have these people that are essentially running the state, and they're very rich, and we seem to like rich people, right? In our culture, money is very important, and I think all of us sort of aspire to have a lot of money and be famous and be rich, and that is up against this more equality-based state, which is the fourth one in Plato's list. And if that's where we're at, right, which would be more akin to socialism, which would be more akin to, we don't want people up here, we want people brought down. Everyone's going to be on the same level. And that's where Joe Biden is. So the question is, does our state want this disparity? Does our state want the ability to transcend others? Like, am I able to move above where others are at? Or does our state want for us to all be on a level playing field? Now, I'll just say from an aside, it's not true, right? We're never all going to be on a level playing field. Your CEOs are still going to be CEOs. They're still going to be rich. There's nothing that's going to change about that. But just the general timbre of the public opinion. Do we want money to sort of be supreme, or do we want equality to be supreme? And that's the question. And if you put your finger to the pulse of the American people, I think that there is a shift. I think we are more and more wanting equality over this possibility of a dynamic shift in our way of living, right? But are we there yet? That's the question. If we're not there yet, and I don't think we are, then I think Donald Trump is going to win. Well, I guess we'll see. The second question is, how much power does the media have? Are they actually able to affect the outcome of this election? If they are, then Trump is going to lose for sure. And this question is brought up by Ayn Rand in The Fountainhead. And what she does is essentially sets up the situation where this newspaper tycoon befriends a guy who is in trouble. He's in some kind of political trouble, and he's going to be put in jail. And this guy's like, I'm going to use my newspaper, my media outlet, to change the minds of the people. And by the time I'm done, they are going to just let you go. And the antagonist, the guy who actually put the guy in jail, is a socialist, if that matters. So it's kind of like a libertarian versus a socialist, as you'd expect in an Ayn Rand book. So the fun thing about this, and it's sort of really harkens to what's going on in our world right now, is that the media fails. They have this set idea, this thing that they want to do, and they can't persuade the people. And the real question is, have they been persuading anyone? Are we, as the American people, changed at all by what's happening in the media? I think you'll probably find people who have been affected by it, but I wonder, number one, I'd like to see a case study of sort of how those people have shifted over a period of time, right? Were they in one place and now they're in another? But sort of more importantly is, do they actually have the power to do what they think they can do? Can they change the mind of not just one, two, three people, but essentially, can they change the mind of the American public? If they can, then Joe Biden's going to win. If they can't, Donald Trump will win. And that's the question. Do we have a media that can do these things, or do we not? So the two questions I think that are significant is, one, where are we as a country? What do we value? And based on what we value, who are we going to elect? The other question is, does the media have the power to determine the voice, the thoughts, the concerns of the American people? If they do, Joe Biden will win. Based on my assessment of those questions, I don't think we're at a place where equality is valued above money, so my answer will be no. I don't think that Joe Biden will win. And my thought is that the media is failing at their attempt to change people's minds. So my guess on this is that Trump is going to win, and those are my reasons. Now, I will say at the end, this doesn't really equate to an endorsement of either of these candidates. I'm just saying what I think will happen based on those criteria that I put forward. So let me know what you think. I'd be happy to talk about this. I mean, heck, we only have 3 more days before we know, if we ever know. Who knows? It's probably going to be, month-long election cycle or whatever. But election season. Regardless, thanks for watching, and there will be more.